I'm going to do 5 cups of sugar. That's number 4. And there's 5. And I have 2½ cups of water. Now I'm going to stir it enough just to dissolve the sugar a little bit. I'm adding 1/4 teaspoon of citric acid. The citric acid is so that the sugar won't crystallize after it is cooked. It'll stay nice and smooth. If you don't have citric acid, you can use 1/2 teaspoon of lemon juice. Some people use a little bit of vinegar, just so that it won't crystallize. I'm going to turn the burner on high. Once it starts boiling, you don't stir it. If you stir syrup, it will get cloudy. I've got a handy thermometer. Very good investment. Buy one for yourself and you'll use it for all kinds of things. I'm now going to put the burner on medium. Now I'm not going to stir it or touch it anymore until my thermometer tells me it's at 225, between 225 and 230. At that point you take it right off of the burner. It'll seem thin, but it does thicken. And you don't want the syrup too thick for the pastries because it'll flow easier as you put it onto baklava or knafe or whatever pastries you're making. You want it to be thin and flowing. It's starting to boil. It's at 200 degrees. It'll take a while to get to the 225. You might have to blow the steam so you can see the thermometer. In 6 minutes, it got to 210. But it still has a way to go. You have to boil it until it gets to the right temperature. It's actually evaporating the water from the sugar. As you can see, it's started to splatter up along the sides. That's why I use a deep pan. It takes about 15-20 minutes to make the syrup. Make sure the ball of the thermometer is in the liquid. I usually cook it to 225, so between 225 and 230 by the time you get it off the burner. Don't go above 230, it will be too thick. Okay, it's been about 11 minutes and it's just getting to 220. After it gets to 220, it starts to go a little faster. If I've ever made it real thick, I don't throw anything away. I take it and use the hardened syrup, thaw it in the microwave a little bit, and pour it into the tamarind, and I make the black or tamarind paste. The recipe does call for sugar, and I use it that way if I have forgotten or turned away and it went past softball. Right at about 225 right now, but it is moving faster and going up. So I'm going to stop right now and take it off the burner. It is at like 228. Take it off the burner. If you can see in there, there's a little bit of foam. Don't worry about that. Don't try to scrape it out or do anything with it. It'll all disappear. Now I use orange blossom water. That's what my mom used. And that's what I've always grown up using. Some people use rose water. I don't care for it. I took the thermometer out, rinse it off right away and put it away because that will break very easily if you just throw it in the sink. Now I'm going to let the syrup totally cool. When it is cool enough, I will add the orange blossom water. If I pour it in when it's too warm, it'll just dissipate because it'll evaporate into the air and it won't leave the flavor in the syrup. You gotta let it cool down till it's room temperature. If you don't have a thermometer, you can take a little bit and just try to make a little string. And this is plenty of a string. If it was cooked longer, it would make a long string about that long. It would stick together. Here's our syrup. It's been about 4 hours. It's a nice consistency. And I'm going to add the orange blossom water now. I'm going to add 4 teaspoons. So it's 1 tablespoon is 3. There's 3. And I'll add 1 teaspoon. I add the 4 because I've tested it before and that's a good amount. I'm going to stir it a little bit, but if you stir it too much, it does get cloudy. I'm stirring it to make sure the orange blossom water, the flavoring, gets through all of it. As you can see, it's very nice. It's flowing easily. And when I cover the baklava or the sweets or the pastries or whatever I use it for, it'll flow easily and it won't clump and get heavy in one spot and not so much in the other. So it is very nice consistency. And I'm gonna pour it into a jar. Just pouring it in. Now I've got to get a spatula and gather it all. Okay. As you can see, that amount made 1 quart. I'm going to cover it. And this does not need to be refrigerated. We've got a nice quart of syrup. You can use it for all your pastries. This, if it's put on properly and not overly done, you can maybe get 2 trays of baklava out of it. But my trays are pretty big, so I'll get 1 tray and probably a small tray of knafa or something else. It won't crystallize because we did put the citric acid in it. And you can see how nice and loose and thin it is.